Okay.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Hi, good morning. This is what we do when the little bop is playing. While we're getting ready.
It's too early. I'm Saige Ryan.
I'm Anthony Carboni, and we've got working mics.
I think.
We've got cameras. We've got...
It's single. It's one camera.
There's a second camera, but we don't know how to hook it up. Hey, when you're the first, best, and only morning show in human history,
it's true.
You gotta figure this shit out as you go along. Ain't nobody here to tell you how to do it.
Yeah, we figure out one thing at a time.
Out of the nest, baby bird. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
God, there's news this week.
And we always fuck it up.
Yeah.
And we just get pushed out of the nest, but we learn something. And today we have 2 microphones.
2 microphones, 2 hosts, 2 stories, maybe more.
We got a show.
We got a show. Ugh.
Things happened.
Things happened, and the first and probably most exciting for us. Listen.
Yes, this was just for us.
We know that this is a morning show and it should be for everyone, and we should be, what's the biggest news in the world right now? Because that's what we got to talk about, because that's what's going to appeal to everybody. Fuck you. We got up so early to do this. We're going to talk
about what we want.
We're going to talk about what we want. And to us, the most important thing that happened yesterday was Nintendo's Indie World Showcase.
Oh, we love the Nintendo Indie World Showcase so much.
Ooh, baby, there was some good stuff.
I genuinely feel like watching this, half of the games were for you and half of them were for me, specifically, right?
I feel like all of them were for me. Half of them were for you.
Yeah.
And now we have to fist fight over them.
Okay, fair. No, the main thing is it was not the platformers, and that's it. Everything else I love.
First news, biggest news. Well, the biggest news is probably Among Us, if we're honest. Among Us coming to the Switch is a big, big deal.
It is a big, big deal. I immediately texted my mother to tell her to download it onto my 8-year-old niece's Switch.
It's out. It's there.
She
you can play Among Us. It was literally the last device, I think. Mm-hmm. No, is it on? It's not on any other console.
No, that was the first console.
That's a Nintendo timed exclusive.
It's been on PC and mobile.
Mm-hmm. That's a big get for Nintendo.
Yeah, it is. And it's still the same price that it was on PC, which is $4.99.
That's amazing. So, that's the biggest news.
Yes.
Second biggest news, as far as I'm concerned, Spelunky 1 and 2. Spelunky roguelikes are meant to be portable. The first Spelunky, I played the hell out of it on the Vita. The Vita was a Spelunky and Persona machine for the longest time. So that was very exciting to me. You don't care.
I don't care at all. Spelunky looks adorable. I actually really do enjoy the game, and I enjoy watching people play the game. I, however, have too much rage in my heart for those kind of games.
But this game...
I have just enough rage in my heart for
game.
Fist of Fluffs looks delightful. It looks like exactly the kind of thing you will see me stream with friends at some point. It is a brawler game of weird Lucy kittens.
It looks like a mix between Gang Beast and Cat Lateral Damage.
Yes, it does. It's definitely got that human fall flat, Gang Beasts wiggle to them, which I love so much. I adore.
We call that the
games.
indie shimmy.
Yeah, the indie shimmy. I love those jiggle physics.
Ooh. Yeah? Were you a big Dead or Alive fan?
No,
different jiggle physics?
Different jiggle physics. Similar idea.
Gotcha.
It looks delightful. It's very, very sweet, and that is not the only cat game. We'll get to another cat game.
This is exciting because this is another timed exclusive for Nintendo. This is kind of a big deal that Nintendo is now looking a little harder at the indie platform, right? Nintendo is usually very happy. One more, just to really hammer it home. You know what I mean? Are you there? What time is it for you? It's 8:19 here. Put what time it is next to you in chat, along with which thing from the Nintendo Indie Showcase you were the most excited about. Nintendo is usually happy to get indie stuff second, later, they just throw a lot of stuff at the library. Like if you look at the Switch store, it's a lot of like $2, $3 games where you're like, I've never heard of that, but I guess I'm glad it's on the Switch.
Yeah, sure.
But this is a real. This I liked the look of this because this means they're at least looking towards their portfolio, third-party indie portfolio, a lot more than they have been.
And I think Nintendo's in an interesting position being on a different release cycle than all the other consoles right now, where they're like, okay, well, what do we do to compete this holiday season or this upcoming like new console hype season?
You got one Mario left.
Right.
What do we do?
Right. And I honestly think that they're doing an excellent job. Like the Switch is still very relevant and people are buying it for the holidays, and it's still my favorite console.
It's the highest selling console this month. And let me tell you something. A couple consoles came out. Very, Very Valet looks extremely cute.
Oh, Very, Very Valet does look so, so cute. Another thing, like, also, I feel like at this point they're releasing the indie games that are mindful. I genuinely think of streamers. Like, this is a very watchable game, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it's high chaos.
You're a little Muppet Valet Parker. It reminds me a lot of Roundabout from last generation, a little bit. But it's fun. It's once again, it's another one of those weird, floopy, physicsy indie games. Like you're saying, it's made for streamers. It's made for parties. I think that's a great niche for the Switch, 100%.
I also enjoy that there's something about the little like landing pad where you drop off the car that reminds me of playing Crazy Taxi.
Yes.
Which I'm always happy to be reminded of playing.
They even have like the little Crazy Taxi, like
the little lines,
little warp lines.
Yeah,
I love that.
Lines. I enjoyed that very much.
Tunch is coming, and it looks very good.
I wasn't gonna try to say it.
I would never. But this looks to be a multiplayer 2D brawler. These are fun. I love these.
Yeah, we played a lot of 2D brawlers.
Yeah, we did. I had you play Streets of Rage a couple weeks ago. Streets of Rage 4. But this one looks great because it looks like there's genuine like different abilities and powers and everything to the different characters. It's set in South America. It's got like a South American historical mythological vibe to it, which is not something we see as often. So I'm really into it.
That character is everything.
That's your one. Huh?
That's my one. She's beautiful. Her powers look awesome. I'm real into it. Her abilities look cool. Also, I appreciate that G Seto in chat just went, yeah.
Did you ever download like one of the new releases of it? Where they had to remove the offspring?
No. Did they remove the offspring because of all their like anti-mask shit?
No, they removed offspring years ago because they only licensed the music for a certain amount of time.
Surprisingly, it had nothing to do with the moral ambiguity surrounding listening to that band.
Surprisingly, it had nothing to do with the fact that the Offspring were masquerading as a punk band, even as they were trust fund Republicans from Orange County.
Oh, you can't call it masquerading. They don't do masks.
Fair. Rich dicks telling everybody to be mildly racist under the guise of 90s punk.
Punk is inherently based in anti-capitalism.
Woo! Cyber Shadow. So this is Yacht Club. This is our good friends who do the Shovel Knights. But I think they are mostly in a publisher position on this one because Mechanical Head seems to be the name of the developer. But it's got a very, whereas Shovel Knight was DuckTales, but for speedrunners, this is Ninja Gaiden, but for speedrunners.
This game looks beautiful. I actually really enjoy the little like cutscenes that they're showing. I think they're very interesting. This also looks like the kind of game that would make me want to tear my skin off. I couldn't do it. I'm like angry just watching it. So it's I won't be, but it looks lovely.
There are a lot of these. The most recent one was The Messenger, which also had like that pseudo Ninja Gaiden retro vibe from last year.
Yeah.
I'm into it, and to be honest, it's only the Yacht Club Games logo on it that makes me go, maybe out of all of the games that are like that come out every month, maybe that's one for me. It's got the Yacht Club seal of approval, which is important. Kevin Scott, what's up, buddy?
Hi. Thanks for that follow.
Look, Kevin, I got my TARDIS mug.
Calico, everybody.
Calico.
This game was made for me specifically. I love it. It's beautiful. It looks absolutely lovely. It looks like it's not going to be a perfect game in general, but it does look like it's going to be a perfect game specifically for me.
So, as I was watching this during the Indie World Showcase yesterday, I was like, this looks pretty cool, and I'm sure when it's done, it will look even better.
It's done.
And then they were like, it's out. And I was like, oh, okay. This definitely has a bit of an unpolished, sort of ambitious college game. You know what I mean? Like, this looks like maybe it came from USC, or maybe it came from DePaul, or it came from, it came from Parsons. It came from one of those, like, colleges with, like, really great games programs. And just kind of stood out, but wasn't polished all the way through. It has that look to it. I'm sure it's very fun, but I have to get past that look.
I love it. Something that I find really interesting, and that we haven't really gotten to discover yet, is this perspective thing, because in certain shots of it, the people and the animals appear to be very, 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 very small. There's a shot of a woman running down a countertop and throwing an egg that's this big. But then there are also other shots where there are like houses and trees and everything appears to be comparably sized to them. Oh,
yeah.
And again, now the cats are walking on two legs.
There's a lot going on.
It looks trippy as hell, and I'm so excited about it, and I will probably stream it tonight. If I'm honest, like, that's probably what I'm gonna play tonight. I'm real excited about it.
It looks good. It looks very good. The new one, Us 2. They, of course, made Monument Valley. Alba, I believe, this is already out on mobile, and I think Switch is the first console to get it, but this looks incredibly adorable. It's very Us 2. It's got the polish. It's got that. It does have that high-end mobile game Apple Arcade sort of look to it.
I could see that.
But I think it works very well on the Switch, and this is a game where you are a little girl trying to save the environment in your island, and you're trying to recruit people on your island to help you. It's got kind of like a weird. It reminds me of like People of Earth, and I don't know. It's something about it. Something about it really strikes me.
It looks adorable. I think it's going to be lovely. I'm glad it exists, and I'm glad it's on Switch. Again, it's also one of those things too where I would be like, I should make children play this. And the exact opposite of that is Happy Game, which also I feel like was made specifically for me.
This is Amanita. These are, if you're familiar with their adventure games, Motivicula, Samarost, classic indie adventure games.
Oh, I'm so excited for this. It looks adorable and disturbing, which are my two favorite aesthetics.
This is exactly you.
Yeah, it's a point and click little puzzle game that has this horrifying world, and as somebody who loves the like Franbows of the world, this is exactly what I want. The Franbo, the Little Misfortune, some of my favorite games are in this genre, and I'm very excited about it. And that's how they closed out the indie showcase.
Another small indie game.
And not small in any way company.
Most independent
and a company
game
that we have lots of feelings about, but reels me in every once in a while, particularly at the holidays. Overwatch, in my opinion, does one of the best holiday events. So they are starting their what do they call it? What's the holiday event called this year?
Winter, hold on. It's called the Winter Wonderland.
The Winter Wonderland event, yes. May's Snowball Fight, or something to that effect, is one of my favorite of the like arcade games that they've put out. It's essentially old school Call of Duty's One in the Chamber, but you're all May and you just have little snowball guns, and it's very, very cute. They have excellent holiday skins all of the time. They have really fun arcade games. I love Moira as well. My David Bowie dreams come through. They make a very fun holiday event. Blizzard does an excellent job across their games in these holiday events. They clearly prepare for them all year. But like, look at that.
Dude, that
Zenyatta was very good.
Yeah, that's very, very good.
And they also are willing to do things that really don't look quite like the character. They're willing to make those big changes. Look at May. Look at my sweet bean May.
She's Penguin.
Ugh.
She's Penguin.
I love her so much. I really do. I can't help it. I went through a very, very, very big Overwatch phase. I went through like a 2-year Overwatch phase.
It's a phase. It's just 2 years.
Yeah, it's just 2 years.
Quick 2 years.
Look at that Roadhog. And every year, I don't play. I don't play at all anymore. But every year, right around the holidays, I'm like, I could just pop on to try and get a couple of those skins.
You just pop on and try and get a couple of those skins.
Try and get a couple of those skins.
You're like me with Destiny, where like when something new comes out in Destiny, I'm like, oh, it's time to come back. I'll go back for a little while.
Yeah.
And I love it. You know, I've always, like I've told you before, I've always wanted to get into Overwatch. I love Blizzard's character design and lore is just, so good, and it makes me want to get into the games. But they only make games in genres that I don't get super into.
Yeah, I get it. And I'm not a shooter person. I'm really not into shooters generally. Even team-based shooters, just not my thing, and haven't been for a very long time, and already weren't by the time Overwatch came out. But I don't know. There's an exception there for me for some reason, especially because I play characters that aren't super just like shooty, gun. They've got other abilities.
You remember that famous old Disney movie, Shooty, Gun?
Gun, of course. They don't play that one anymore.
They don't play that one anymore.
No, absolutely not.
We're D&D people.
Oh, we are D&D people. That's not D&D.
We like a D&D.
We love a D&D, and there were a couple of pieces of very exciting D&D news this week.
First of all, boop.
The Stranger Things cast are doing an actual play of D&D on YouTube. Obviously, especially in the beginning of Stranger Things, season 1 was really based around these dorky kids that played D&D in the basement. It was very, very endearing. It was very, very sweet. We love to see D&D not represented the way that Riverdale did it. We love to see a couple of sweet kids playing D&D.
But we also kind of like seeing D&D represented the way Riverdale did.
Kind of funny. All right, it's kind of funny. But they have some of the cast doing it, and it's not just the young boys. Dustin, Jim Hopper, Mike, and Nancy Wheeler are all playing together.
We love it. We love it. This is going to be a one-shot. I think it's in 2 days on YouTube. Yeah, December 18th.
Oh my God, it's almost December 18th.
You can watch it live on the Netflix on NX YouTube. There's a teaser on the Stranger Things channel. Gaten Matarazzo, who plays Dustin, he came out for the Star Wars show once, and he is already an encyclopedic dude about all of this, all pop culture, D&D, all this stuff. And because of the show, like we were talking about this, because of Stranger Things, he's like, I have become extremely encyclopedic about things from the 80s.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And he's like, and so now I just kind of have a love for all of this stuff and a love for classic D&D. And so it's very fun to see the entire cast getting together and doing a one-shot for this.
That is very interesting. I actually do want to know who's DMing it. Is it David Harbour?
If David Harbour, can you imagine fucking Hellboy being your DM? That's what we all think of him as, right? Hellboy?
Yeah, that's
classically
what we all
trained
think of him
actor
as.
David Harbour is Hellboy.
Led by David Harbour.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Imagine David Harbour, brilliant character actor David Harbour being your DM. Damn.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I will definitely be watching it. I'm super excited about it. I love to see mainstream stars playing D&D. I think it's very fun. It's one of those silly things that I'm like, my hobby.
Yay! Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bonus token.
Also, a couple of people asked how Riverdale represented Dungeons and Dragons. They didn't call it Dungeons and Dragons. What did they call it?
Griffins and Gargoyles.
Griffins and Gargoyles. And it was a bunch of kids meeting in the sewers and sneaking into the schools and doing drugs and playing D&D and killing themselves.
It was 80s D&D Satanic Panic.
It was very much a parody of the Satanic Panic.
But they did it like as a huge over-the-top parody, and that's why it was fun, and that's why it was funny. Like you can you're watching the show and you're like, these writers play D&D. They get how stupid it is that this Satanic Panic thing was happening, and so they made a horror comedy show based on that.
Some of the things that annoyed me though is I guess the writers probably did, but the actors very clearly
No, the actors
did not.
don't. The actors, those kids know about abs and $80,000 sports cars.
Yeah, they did not know that they were parodying the Satanic Panic surrounding Dungeons and Dragons. They kind of did their own thing, and it wasn't great.
It was fine. Yeah, it was very much mazes and monsters. So when you talk about D&D going mainstream.
Yeah, of course.
How mainstream do you want it to go? How big can we get?
I mean, D&D's already pretty big. I mean, I make part of my living playing Dungeons and Dragons. Why? Oh, because Chris Pine is going to star in the Dungeons and Dragons movie?
First of all, we don't need another Dungeons and Dragons movie. We already have a Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Of course, we have a brilliant masterpiece.
It's very good. It's the best movie Marlon Wayans has ever been in. Is it the best Jeremy Irons performance? Yeah, I'll go ahead and say that. Is it the best Thora Birch movie ever made? Yeah, sure. I'll say that too.
Keep saying things.
I'll just keep saying things.
All right. Well,
we don't need another, but Chris Pine, get out of here. Justin Whalen had this covered. Thank you.
Now, this is technically still rumored. I don't believe that Chris Pine is officially confirmed, but it's looking pretty solid.
He's in negotiations with Paramount and E1 for their upcoming film adaptation. Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly, the directors of Game Night, that Rachel McAdams and Jason Bateman kind of like dark comedy mystery movie, which was very good, better than it should have been. They're directing the movie and writing the screenplay. I don't know what that means tonally for the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
I don't know either.
I don't know what that means. Just because they're the people that made Game Night doesn't mean, the Russo brothers were the directors of Community until they made, until they made Winter Soldier. Right. So, I don't know. I think this is probably a pretty serious D&D adaptation. I
don't know if I want a serious D&D adaptation, honestly. As someone who takes D&D pretty seriously, I would have to be the target audience, wouldn't I? I love D&D lore. I love a serious, dramatic D&D campaign. I love the world. I love the game. I still don't know if I want a serious movie.
Well, the tricks and traps, mazes and monsters, griffins and gargoyles of making a D&D movie is that there's so much D&D. There's so much official lore. There are so many official stories. There are so many official ways to tell a D&D story that if making a big budget D&D movie becomes, how do you do that?
Yeah.
How do you do that without it coming off to the average person like a sort of like, well, I've seen The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Or how do you not, you don't want to get too super specific to where you're doing like, you're doing like a Curse of Strahd or an Icewind Dale.
Give us Curse of Strahd.
Like you're doing a Curse of Strahd or an Icewind Dale or something like that,
no,
where it's like
do that. Do exactly that.
It's too specific, and then a lot of the community goes, well, that's not my favorite D&D module. That's not my favorite thing.
As part of the D&D community, sure, it's not my favorite module, but give me an Icewind Dale. Icewind Dale is very cool.
Icewind Dale is very cool.
I'm a Curse of Strahd person, but absolutely, I would love to see it. I would love to see them take a specific piece of it and not just Dungeons and Dragons as a whole, because there are so many different versions. Like you have Eberron, which is a totally different world.
Yeah.
So I would also love to see an Eberron movie. Give us an Eberron movie. I think that would be top of my list if we were going to do a D&D movie. I agree. There was somebody in chat, and I'm sorry it scrolled past, but I would love to see another D&D cartoon. I genuinely think that would be the best way to give us D&D media right now. I would love to see a D&D cartoon, something actually like one of those that sits kind of in between kids but adults can comfortably watch. I would love that.
Now see, if I was going to pick one classic D&D thing to do as a movie, give me those Spelljammers, baby! Give me those space sailboats with those good pirates and those weird solar sails. Hit me with that Spelljammer movie. What up? That's the D&D movie everybody wants.
Is that the one? Stop. Okay. No, we're not going to do this again this week. No. You've had your fun. I got a new computer. I can control the things again.
He kisses a lady.
Yeah, he kisses a lady.
In other movie adaptation news, big movie. But first, let me ask you this, kids. Little pickles.
No.
Let me ask you this. What D&D module, what D&D setting, what D&D characters would you like to see in a movie? Maybe a TV series. Go wild. Go nuts. Do it here in chat. There is some important Batman movie news, though.
That's so true. Well, the Library of Congress has made its editions of the year.
The Library of Congress only enters 25 movies into the National Film Registry each year, and they have to be at least 10 years old. This year, the 25 movies include The Dark Knight and Shrek. Shrek will live forever.
When they said Shrek is love, Shrek is life, they really did something. They really knew something.
Shrek will live forever. 25 movies added this year. We've got some of the highlights for me: Clockwork Orange, Grease, The Blues Brothers, Joy Luck Club, Buena Vista Social Club, good year for clubs. Shrek.
Yes. Shrek was definitely a highlight.
The Hurt Locker.
Sure, The Dark Knight,
The
Freedom
Dark Knight.
Riders. Okay.
Sure.
I'm fascinated because I picture a council of old white men, which I assume it is, and you know that it is, sitting around being like, Grease, Hurt Locker, of course, Clockwork Orange, yes. And then one guy was like, Shrek? And everybody was like,
Shrek must be preserved.
I
Shrek
guess.
must be put into a vault 100 feet underground where after the nuclear wars and the famines and the uprising and the end of all life as we know it and the inevitable rebirth, new living things, a new society, a new planet, they must be able to find Shrek. It must be saved for them.
Absolutely. They'll crack it all open and they'll try and discover what our society was like. And honestly, with this list, they'll get it. Yeah, they'll get it. I'm not proud of it, but they'll get it. The Dark Knight is a fine introduction. I enjoyed The Dark Knight very, very much. I'm still a big fan of that movie, not gonna lie. Real into it.
Yeah.
Shrek is a fascinating addition. And it got us thinking, if Shrek, then what? If Shrek, what else? If you're going to add Shrek, now you've opened up kind of a door for us as people who enjoy strange films, as people who saw Cats in theaters too many times.
Now, Cats is not going to be eligible until 2029.
Yes.
So, listen.
We've got plenty of time.
We got plenty of time. I'm not worried about Cats. I think that when 2029 comes around, the National Film Registry will make the right choice.
Of course, absolutely.
I trust them.
We trust that. But we might as well start campaigning.
The Breakfast Club is in already. People are making some guesses. Don't look at the list. Guess movies that are on the National Film Registry.
Yeah, and we'll tell you if they're on there.
We'll tell you if they're on there. But we also want to put some of our own films here.
Of course,
that don't exist.
The things that we want the next society to know about us. Things like, for instance, if Shrek is on there, why not B-Movie?
Hey.
B-Movie was released in 2007. It is entirely eligible to make it onto this list and to be preserved, and yet it is snubbed once again.
Yeah, the B-Movie could be on the list already. It could be there.
It could be
there.
And yet. So we need to make sure that it gets the proper amount of buzz.
Barry B. Benson. You sweet boy. Just graduated college, trying to figure out what to do with his little bee life. I think he fuck a human woman.
Yeah, no, he definitely steals a human woman's love and marriage.
He married the human woman?
No, she divorced her husband for him.
For the bee?
For the bee.
That's real?
That's real.
I've never seen the B-Movie, but I understand its importance.
I watched the B-Movie, I believe, when it came out, and then didn't remember any of it because I think I just sweated it out as a fever dream. And then I watched it last year sometime for like a Discord movie night, and this woman divorces her husband for that bee, Anthony.
The only version of the B-Movie I've seen is the one on YouTube where every time they say the word bee, it gets 5 times faster.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty familiar with the first 10 minutes of the B-Movie.
Fair.
But after that, it all kind of goes by. But I do believe he fuck a human woman.
He does.
And hey, that's brave. That's artistically groundbreaking.
Yep.
It's metaphorically dense and layered.
It's dense.
Put it in the National Film Registry, you cowards.
It's God tier, exactly. It should be remembered. It's something that we made, and we got a ton of celebrities to be in.
Look, there's so many
Who's the lead voice? I don't recall.
It's Gerald Seinfeld.
It's Jerry Seinfeld.
It's Gerald
we got
Seinfeld.
Jerry Seinfeld to be this bee that fucks a human woman. Come on.
Renee Zellweger.
Literally meets a woman, okay?
Chris Rock's in there somewhere.
Gets stuck in her house somehow, scares her. Bees can talk canonically in all of this, and they just choose not to. All bees can talk. No one hears bees talk. However, when bees start talking, the world does not go, holy shit, bees can talk. They're like, oh, hey, that bee's talking to me. What's up, bee? They did not know bees could talk, and yet bees talking, perfectly fine. Really, really casual about.
They fucking.
Yes.
Hey, y'all.
Literally, look at the way she looks at him.
That's love.
Look at that pose.
That's love in those
He's
eyes.
spread eagle for her. He's just like ready to go. Like it's ridiculous. And I am not kidding. And I'm sorry to spoil this movie from 2007, but he comes in and shows her love and affection, and she leaves her husband for him. And then they fight a court case.
What?
For rights for bees.
Yo, this movie goes places.
Yo, this movie goes places. It becomes a giant legal battle for bees' rights.
This movie goes
and
places.
not like in the way that we protect environmental rights in our world, in like bees' rights to basically be human. It is fascinating. It's iconic. They're also starting, I have seen a couple of things buzzing around because of course we got the Ratatouille musical. And now everybody wants a musical for all of these movies. So there's some songs buzzing around for the Bee Movie. There's some stuff going around for an Incredibles musical. I love it all. Thank you, TikTok.
I think our mission is clear. Here's what we need. Saige, will you please put in a chat a link to the Library of Congress Twitter?
All right.
It's twitter.com/librarycongress. I don't believe the film registry has its own Twitter.
No.
I've looked.
Yes.
Twitter.com/librarycongress. Either Saige or Ahmad, somebody put that in there now.
I got it.
We need to let them know that the Bee Movie was snubbed and that the Bee Movie should have been in there probably before Shrek.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to take away from Shrek's accomplishments or achievements.
Look, we're happy to have both.
Love to have Shrek in there.
But Shrek came out in 2000, what year?
2000.
7?
So fucking 2000.
Okay. And the movie just seems to have been overlooked. We have some movies coming in that were released in 2010. We just skipped right over Bee Movie.
Yeah, so we need you to tweet at the Library of Congress, let them know that the Bee Movie should be in the National Film Registry, and just hashtag that Justice for Barry.
Yeah. Sure, let's do hashtag Justice for Barry.
Hashtag Justice for Barry.
And if you haven't watched Bee Movie, or at least haven't watched it in a long time, go revisit that. It's a trip worth taking.
Here's what I think is going to happen.
Tell me what's going to happen.
Here's what I think is going to happen. You may not know this. We've got a Patreon.
We do have a Patreon, you're right.
We have a Patreon because we shoot this show with equipment that we have borrowed from other people in a room that is supposed to be a place where Saige can sleep.
Yeah.
So we do all this on our own. So the Patreon, we try to give you a little something if you help fund us. So one of the things that we like to do is we like to throw up some extra video content for It's Too Early fans.
Yes.
Our little pickles, which is canonically your name. 100%.
No, that's not correct. We have not agreed upon that.
And that's
but
the
that's
community
besides the
name
point.
forever.
That's not true.
And forever and ever, amen. It's notarized. And I think what we're going to do this week is I think I'm going to watch that Bee Movie.
All right.
I think I'm going to watch that Bee Movie, and I'm going to give y'all some off the dome thoughts about that Bee Movie. I'm ready.
Yeah. Let's do it. Patreon is literally how we keep this channel going. It is so helpful. We appreciate it. Is the Amazon wish list up to date? Yes. Yes, it is. There is a bunch of equipment that we desperately need on there, and also just things that would be fun and help make the show cool. Most of that Amazon wish list is specifically for It's Too Early, because this is the one that we shoot in-house and not virtually. But yes, all of that is on there. It goes to our P.O. box, and we appreciate it very much if you want to check out that kind of thing. If not, don't worry about it. But Patreon has a bunch of cool things, and we just announced the dates options for our first Patreon exclusive TTRPG game, DM'd by the lovely Kaylee Bray, who DMs our Damsels, Dice, and Everything Nice, and is a player on Failed Save. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And somebody else might jump in and play with you. Who knows?
Who can say?
Who can say?
But yeah, that's one of the big boy tiers.
It is.
That's one of the big boy tiers where somebody from Failed Save or Dungeons or Damsels, Dice, and Everything Nice will show up.
Yeah.
Will show up magically for you and a few other people and just DM a game.
Yep, we're all gonna play D&D together or a various tabletop RPG. But there are a bunch of other lower tiers. The tiers start at $3 a month, and there's a bunch of cool perks that come with them. And all of that's on there.
And hey, we know it's 2020.
Ooh, we know it's 2020.
We know, oh God, do we ever know it's 2020.
Oh, presently, terribly aware it's 2020.
So we understand that Patreon may not be a thing for you. Subscribing here on Twitch may not be a thing for you. We get that. The best thing you can do for us, really, honestly, the best thing you can do if you're enjoying the show, just share the show. Clip it, share it out, link to it, let people know you've been enjoying it. You know, we post archive versions of the shows that are cut down on YouTube.
Every single show.
Every single show. All, like, not every past episode, but a lot of past episodes of It's Too Early are up there. You can watch them in the afternoon. You can share them with friends. Get people into it. We would really appreciate that. We've been working really hard, and honestly, the best reward for hard work is just having it seen and having it be appreciated.
My mom came into chat and said, Saige doesn't sleep.
No.
Also, PixelCircus is here.
Hey, little pickles!
Oh God, it's happened. So yeah, the links for all of our social media for PixelCircus are on there. That's where we have all of the updates. Join the Discord, that helps us out a lot. Stop that. Nope, not right now. Anthony, we've seen it. We've seen it. We've seen it.
I've also got the one where they kiss.
Okay. Twitter is also a great resource for us. And YouTube. Check out that YouTube channel.
Do it all. Do all of it.
It's cool, and thank you. Seriously.
Or none of it. Do as much of it as you can.
We do see y'all that tweet out clips every week, and we appreciate it so much. Ray, thank you for sharing clips. Elliot, thank you for sharing clips. Chaos Them, that is. And we appreciate it so much. Thank you for being amazing and for supporting the show and for showing up way too early to spend your morning with us.
Yeah. We will be here way too early yet again on Friday, so be sure to join us then. Until then, stay safe and stay sane.
Bye, friends.